Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take on a Wednesday, a very special Wednesday for a multitude of reasons. Of course, Wednesdays always
Thank you, Molly.
Mad Dog Russo. And
Appreciate
now, football season. Our guy, Swagu, Marcus Spears in the flesh.
I'm in the building.
What's up, baby?
I'm so
Amazing.
excited to be
It's
in
good
New
to
York.
see you.
I'm gonna be
Stephen
here
A.,
a lot.
good morning. Can't wait to see you sit down with Roger Goodell. The commissioner, as you said, will be in the house.
Yes.
So that'll be wonderful.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hey, man, I ain't seen you in person in a minute. You're looking good, bro.
I'm trying.
I know people been telling you that on the show.
I'm trying.
But they be trying to embellish you.
First of all, they're lying. That's not true. They do not tell me I look good.
Oh.
Matter of fact, she's like my fifth sister, so she's one of
Yeah,
the. My
knock you
forces
down.
always knock me
I
down.
can't tell
She's
him
another
anything
one of those
because he
people.
always tells me
says-
what he is.
You
He's
got
like,
to
I
because
look
they
good. I'm
won't.
skinny.
They
And
won't.
I'm like,
They
okay,
won't do
cool.
it for you. I've never said I'm skinny.
What you doing?
What is that?
What you doing?
Exercising, cardio 6 days a week, weightlifting 5 days a week, cut out 90% of my sugar, cut out the bread, and that's just to name a few, and cut and the sweets. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a struggle. The struggle's real.
Yeah,
the struggle's
sugar.
real.
That's
You should
sugar.
see him bench press that 70 pounds. He does one heck of a job.
Heavy.
That's right. So be it. I did 20 push-ups. I didn't see you do them.
You did?
I could do 100 right now.
Right, really?
Yeah, damn right.
Like you swing the tennis racket?
Dreaming.
Stop with that tennis shot.
Don't tempt us, because I can get the camera out.
Well,
I
I
don't
know
have
you
time
can.
for
Man,
100 off the top of the show. but
I could do 25, take a little break, 25, take
Oh,
a
no,
little
you
break.
said
Oh, okay.
100.
Well,
with
you
real
got to
confidence.
add to 100. Anyway, we have a lot to do today, don't we, Steve?
Calisthenics.
Let's go. Yes,
Let's
we do.
go. Okay.
Let's go.
Mad Dog doing them calisthenics.
Chris, how should the Jets move forward at quarterback?
Well, a couple things here, since I haven't done it here. Number one, give Salah a lot of credit. They knew at halftime that Rodgers was out. They were down 13-3. The team came back out and won the game. That's a heck of a job by Salah. The team came out. Kid made a great punt return. I give him a lot of credit for that. Number two, I love Tannenbaum. Joe Namath, Mike, is not coming down from the clouds to be the Jet quarterback. Who are they going to, Matt Ryan? Or who do you want? I mean, Carson Wentz? Of course you got to have Wilson as your quarterback. There's nobody else.
For right now,
I mean, Tyler Heineke? Is that who you're going to throw at me
Matthew
here?
Stafford,
I mean,
do a trade.
Matthew, they just won. He played great. They're not trading. They're not getting him. Him and McVay are bonded at the hip. They're thick as thieves. They're not getting him. This is ridiculous. This is the Jet quarterback. They're not getting a quarterback after week 2. And I'll say right there, let me say this too. I'm going to give you, can I give you a few before we throw it tomorrow? Can I give you 4 or 5 silver linings? May I do that?
Yeah, I love silver
Can I do that, Marcus?
Silver
Okay
Linings
with it?
Playbook, great
All
movie.
right, number one, they don't lose a draft pick. They lose the second round instead of the first round because he's not going to play. Rodgers doesn't play 65% of his plays. Number two, you got to hope that Rodgers, his karma rubbed off some on Wilson in the last 4 or 5 months. He can't be worse than he was last year. They won the game against Buffalo, and they were down 13-3 at the half. He did not play that terribly in the second half. They're going to play conservative football. Everybody, we know what they're going to do. They're going to play defense. They're going to run the ball with the 2 running backs. What, they can't win 9 games? They almost won 9 games last year. And he doesn't have to worry about Mike White. The Jets are going to be competitive. Are they going to win a Super Bowl? No. Are they going to make a deep run in the playoffs? No. But can the Jets be in the periphery of the postseason with Zach Wilson? The answer in my eyes is yes.
Mad Dog, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, please, Mark.
Because it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Why were the Jets in 2 games out of the playoffs last year or 3 games out of the playoffs?
They had no quarterback.
Well, no, it's because they actually got a quarterback that played better by the name of Mike White.
Correct.
Right? Like,
I
listen,
understand. Yep.
I don't want to, first of all, let me say this. I feel terrible for this kid, right? I feel terrible for Zach Wilson.
Okay, go ahead.
One, I think the New York thing is too big for him. He comes from BYU. I think this transition, when you don't play well, I mean, Stephen A. and you talk about it all the time. Y'all been covering New York market forever. This kid is in a spin cycle right now. And now he has to come in when your team 4 days ago had Super Bowl aspirations. A new coach that he's never worked with, and don't give me the training camp and they were able to work there. No, they were preparing this season for Aaron Rodgers. Nathaniel Hackett's one-eye focus was to get Aaron Rodgers in the best possible situation for this team to make a Super Bowl run. Zach Wilson was not groomed this offseason. He got reps in camp, and he played solid in some preseason games. But when you start talking about getting ready to go win a Super Bowl, your attention is on Aaron Rodgers and getting him ready to go. That's one thing. The other thing is this. The New York Jets just went from Super Bowl aspirations to now we know they need a quarterback, because I agree with you on this point. They need 3 more wins than they had last year. We're not talking about going to the Super Bowl. We're talking about getting in the dance. I'm not sure if Zach can get them in the dance, doggy. And look, you said they beat the Bills. Thank you, Josh Allen.
Well, I agree.
Okay,
He won a
so
game.
I have.
He lost the game.
There's multiple layers to this, but my confidence in Zach Wilson is all I have to go by based on what I've seen. And Doggy, he will cost them the playoffs based on what we've seen more than this hopeful elevation that everybody thinks is going to happen, and he gets them into the playoffs.
Well, one of the things I've been emphasizing is that I'm a giver. I'm a giver. And the reason I bring that up and the relevancy to that point is that Robert Saleh has said, I don't understand why people are writing our epitaph. Well, let me give you the information that help you understand. Zach Wilson completed 54% of his passes last year, 54%. He threw 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, okay, in the 9 games that he played, all right? Very Tebow-esque, dare I say, in terms of passing football. Now, he's my friend, so I'm not throwing any shade on Tim Tebow. I'm just talking about the ability to pass the football on the NFL level, not necessarily proven on the part of Zach Wilson. Here's where it gets incredibly alarming. I asked football players, because I damn sure ain't trying to play. I mean, just looking at Shannon Sharp sitting there yesterday and Chris Canty, I was like, thank the good Lord I never played football. Look at this man here. I don't want anybody hitting me. But here's the thing. I remember, and I asked these questions since last year, when Zach Wilson got hurt, did you ever see a team happy that the quarterback was out? I mean, like, they couldn't hide their glee. I mean, cameras were rolling, microphones were there, and what have you. They could not hide their glee. I'm talking about people wearing the same uniform now. I'm talking about people in the same building. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It was bad, man. And you know how bad you got to be that in the NFL, where there's only 17 games in the regular season, and you're the New York Jets, by the way, the 29th ranked offense last season. You know how bad you got to be when you're supposed to be the starting quarterback, when you're a former number 2 overall draft pick, all right, recently. This ain't a decade ago, okay? And you get hurt, and the team is not unhappy because they were not. Now, they didn't wish him, getting hurt where you off the field and such. But in terms of you not being behind center for them, they were overjoyed. And I understand that Aaron Rodgers is there and that he might have had an impact being in that quarterback room, get into his head a little bit, teach him a few things here and there. But do y'all have any idea what's going to happen this weekend? You're going to Dallas. This quarterback is going against that defense. That defense. And all I'm saying to you is this is my last point, Doggy. All I'm saying to you is this. I look at Breece Hall, spectacular. Yeah. Spectacular. Dalvin Cook, we know what that brother brings to the table. Garrett Wilson is that dude. And the defense is all that in a bag of chips, okay? And I don't mean in the same bag of chips that I call Saquon Barkley and the bag of chips that is the Giants' offense, which is close to nothing. But I'm telling you right now, you can't have Zach Wilson behind quarterback. You got to do something. Robert Saleh could talk all that stuff you want. All I'm going to say to you, coaches, this ain't hard knocks, bro. We ain't buying it. Y'all in a world of trouble because Zach Wilson is your quarterback, period.
First off, you're not allowed to talk about Dallas. All of a sudden now the Cowboys are going to devour the Jets. Don't you hate the Cowboys?
So what they got to do with
the price of the Cowboys. Now you're using the Cowboys. Now, you always accuse me of playing both sides of the fence.
No.
Yeah.
Don't you? We'll get to you on that later. We'll get to you on that later. We'll get to, please.
That's the first thing. Second thing, again, Joe Namath is not coming down from the clouds. Where were they getting another quarterback? This is who they got.
Doggy, I agree with you. I'm saying, do you think it's a guy out there that could get you 2 or 3 wins beyond what's that? Stop with that, Molly. Please don't do that. Well, let's not be typical media.
What? But why?
She's kidding. She was kidding.
No, I'm really not.
Oh, my God. He's not coming
Did you see Tom Brady avoiding hits? The man don't want to get hit. It ain't about playing quarterback.
1 year, 1 ring.
1 year may end your
He's
career.
Molly.
I mean, it may end your psyche. He's not coming back.
TV12.
But
Get on the bandwagon,
I have a
Russo.
problem.
I'm not getting on the
I have a
bandwagon.
problem with it, with thinking that some magical thing about Zach Wilson is about to happen. Doggy, we don't have to disseminate it. They chased Aaron Rodgers all offseason to go get him.
Listen, I understand they are not going to win a Super Bowl. Last year they were 7-4. They didn't have Breece Hall. They didn't have Cook.
Yep.
They didn't have Becton.
Yep.
Okay.
Now they got all three of them, and Wilson's got to be a little better. They also got a winner under their belt already. You're telling me they can't win
Well,
9
can I
games?
say this to you? Can I say, let's not forget the fact that most of their wins came against backup quarterbacks last year. That's
5 of
number one. About 5 of them, all right? That's number one. Number two, even though they ended the season with a 6-game losing streak, and they're pretty much all were at, one possession losses or what have you. Here's the bottom line, 1 score or less, actually. Here's the deal. I'll give the Jets some love from this perspective. They get to an AFC championship game, a couple of AFC championship games with Mark Sanchez as their quarterback. You had a shutdown corner. Obviously, you had a good running game, okay? You had a big-time defense, and that helped you. So you could make the argument that something like that could help propel the New York Jets, who are much better this year than last year. My problem is this. Look at the road you have to travel. You got Buffalo, Miami, and New York. You got Baltimore, Cincinnati, and now Cleveland in the AFC North. You got Jacksonville in the South. You got Kansas City and Los Angeles in the West. And that's just to name a few. I'm just saying it doesn't look good.
All right. Before we move on, to me, this year's a wash, okay? Listen, I'm a Giants fan. It's rough for New York football out here in these streets. I'm not taking shots. This is what I want to know for you guys before we move on here. Do you think Rodgers ever comes back?
I just can't see Aaron Rodgers making the investment that he made and not trying to come back and fulfill what I think he promised to this team is to get them to a Super Bowl. I don't believe that. And y'all know I'm one of the harshest Aaron Rodgers critics. He did everything right.
Yeah.
Coming into this season. He was reinvigorated about football. He felt the responsibility to the young guys on this roster to get them to that point because of the talent. He identified a team that he felt like he could get to the Super Bowl. My only caveat is this. This is an Achilles at 40.
Yeah.
Playing football, right? Like, you are going to be under duress. You are going to have to push off that leg. Maybe not the pass, but to avoid some pass rush. These young dudes on defense, this is and Stephen A., to your point, like when that's why it's tough when you bring up older teams. This generation of players, this is fast break football now. This is no longer I'm gonna turn around and hand it off 40 times and we could potentially get to a Super Bowl that way. That's just not the way that you can do it in this league. At times you'll have to run the ball. The problem that the New York Jets have is the problem that every other team in this league has dilemma-wise. You don't have a quarterback that can go above and beyond X's and O's. Well, you're probably not going to get accomplished what you need.
The only comment that I have about that is this is not basketball, it's football. And you running up and down the court for 82 games a night after recovering from an Achilles injury is entirely different than you having to go out on the field for 17 games and playing the quarterback position. Now, if you're a running back, that's different. You're a wide receiver, you're running downfield, cuts, with your patterns, your route running, that's different. You're a cornerback, and you've got to react to a receiver and what he's going to do. That's different. What we're talking about from the quarterback position is you turning around and hand off the football to a running back or you dropping back in the pocket to throw the football. Now, you could say scramble, and I get all of that, but we've seen plenty of quarterbacks that were relatively immobile that were still successful on the NFL
Before we
level.
move on, do you think he's coming back?
I would be shocked if Rodgers quits.
Okay.
And I think he's going to come back better than he was. I think he's going to give the Jets 2 great years. He'll be motivated to win a Super Bowl. This will get him all pumped up, recovering from an Achilles.
But when? Next season or the season after?
No, next season.
What are we in right now? This is what?
September 2023.
Just
So
a year. It's about
the
a year.
recovery is September next year.
Yeah.
They say this thing is a year.
They said 9
right?
months a year.
So he'll be rehabbing anyway. It don't make a difference if he's coming back to play football. So if his goal is to try to get this team to a Super Bowl, you got to rehab anyway. My issue when it becomes about the Achilles, Stephen A., to your point, we got the Aaron Donalds of the world and the Chris Joneses of the world. And you know what I'm saying? So if you telling me they going to go re-solidify this offensive line and Aaron Rodgers won't have to, because when we get to critical mass football, it's about movement.
Yeah, I
Stephen A.,
agree
you
with
think
that.
he's back?
So what?
You think he's
I
back?
think he's back. And I tell you this too, Swagu. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying this is Aaron Rodgers, an expert at throwing the football
100%.
away. An expert at throwing the football away. Ain't looking to scramble too much, at least in his latter years. And oh, by the way, you just go down.
Yeah.
You just go down. You don't get hit, you just go down.
But 3-4 years ago, what did we say? When you and I was sitting on this show and you was pissed off at Matt LaFleur. And we also were pissed off at Aaron Rodgers because he didn't take off and go get a touchdown.
That's
we thought
true.
he could
In
have
the
got.
NFC Championship game against Tom Brady.
When we think about Patrick Mahomes, we don't think about Patrick Mahomes as a scrambler. It's one of the most devastating things he does when it's playoff time.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.